Coming to you live from the Business RadioX studio, it's Franchise Marketing Radio, brought to you by IDS, an award-winning digital marketing agency that delivers integrated marketing solutions for franchisors, franchisees, and franchise development teams. Learn why over 75 brands depend on IDS's team of dedicated marketers and client service professionals to deliver a strong ROI on their marketing investment. Go to idsfranchisemarketing.com for a complimentary digital audit and consultation.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Franchise Marketing Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ganley. We're the podcast where we're your go-to podcast for insights into the franchising world. And today is no different. I have a very special guest. She is the Executive Vice President of Fresh Coat Painters. Her name is Lisa Hudson. It's great to have you on the show today, Lisa.
Thank you, Rob. It's great to be spending some time with you today.
It's great. It's great to talk about franchising. I get excited every time we get started here. So the very first question is always, tell me a little bit about Fresh Coat Painters, the brand. I know it's the latest stop in your long career. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you arrived here and then a little bit about the vision forward for the brand.
Sure. So I have had a background in organizational leadership and also was a franchise owner with one of our sister brands called the Growth Coach. And through that, I was able to sell my franchise and become a leader, the president of the Growth Coach, and then have now moved on to be the executive vice president of Fresh Coat. And so I have kind of a unique perspective, not only of leading organizations, but to have also been a franchise. So it, I think, makes me kind of weigh out the balance when you're thinking about what's right for the franchisee and helping them, because I understand exactly, I've been in their shoes as well. And Fresh Coat is a lot of fun. It's always been one of the larger franchises in Strategic Franchise, which is our parent company. Painting done right is our motto. And that is really because we focus on the customer, the experience that they're excited about having. Typically, when you paint, it's either you're excited about your outside, you're excited about an event, a family event in your home, and we want to be part of that. And we also want to make sure that you understand we're going to do quality work, we're going to be there on time, the project is going to be finished, and you can have your graduation party, wedding, or whatever family event that you're really excited about.
Wow. So you're a little casual in what you just said. I thought it was pretty amazing. You do have a background where you've seen it from every angle. Even prior to franchising, you had a lot of leadership roles in the corporate world, and then you've been with other brands, and you've been a franchisee and a leader. So I think that's amazing. And you were in a coaching franchise where you're helping other businesses thrive and grow. So lots of angles there. And now you're leading Fresh Coat Painters. Tell me a little bit about what distinguishes you guys. Obviously, painting is a home service that we're all familiar with. There's a lot of brands in the world that do that. But tell me what's a little special about you guys, both how you serve your customers as well as the opportunity itself.
Absolutely. So, we really spend a lot of time with our new owners, helping them to be able to build a great team. And so we spend a lot of time in training, teaching them how to find great painters and how to train painters to really take pride in the customer's home and to make sure that we're doing a great job, but also a very clean job, a job that's done accurately. And so that is one of the things that we really pride ourselves on, is the quality of work, the quality of paint, and the timeliness. And in today's world, I think timeliness is really important, especially when you're excited about a big event. You want to make sure it's going to be done and done right, because typically we all wait and procrastinate, and it's just right before the event. So all of those things are really important. And we do our in-sales in the home. We want to get to know the individuals. We want to be able to see exactly where they're wanting the painting done. And we want to build a relationship with them so that we can really build that trust through all transparency of who's going to be helping them through the project.
Well, and I've talked to quite a few brands and a lot inside of your group, which I think is also fascinating. And I like to bring out what that is, like, whether you call it a, holding company or a parent company, but the idea that you have complementary brands under one umbrella. So maybe touch on why that's unique, because I also think that's really powerful and why Fresh Coat Painters is also unique. How does that work?
Absolutely. So, strategic franchising has 5 different brands, and all of us can share customers in some way. And we also have shared resources. And so that also helps us keep our costs and expenses down. But the most important part is the knowledge. Through how we all serve our customers, we're learning. The presidents collaborate together and really make sure that if there's something that's new in marketing or something that's working in franchise development, or if there is a new vendor that we can all take advantage of, we share those ideas, and that really benefits all of our franchises. We are not just kind of out there trying to do it on our own. We have partners to help us stretch and grow and to look for new things as well. And then we kind of do that within FreshCoat. We really work hard to build the network of all of our owners. We have 176 locations all across the country, and we do a monthly call where we highlight different franchisees and what their best practices are. So if they're really strong in commercial painting and they've developed a business, we let them talk a little bit about the things that they've learned, what they do differently, and then how another person in our owner can go out and really make it happen in their area. So those shared resources are just kind of a theme throughout Strategic, throughout FreshCoat, and probably I would assume that they're doing the same out in their communities, helping others too.
Yeah, I mean, I have to pull it out for the audience to to kind of unpack it a little. It's franchising is an amazing model, and as a franchisee, you get to be part of a network, and you get to be take advantage of the leverage of a network of small business owners. But having Strategic above you is like a mastermind for franchisors, or a franchisor for franchisors. It's like a double. It's like a double benefit in my mind. It's like even better. And then you have complementary franchisees. And I suppose in many markets, you have some franchisees that can complement one another and work together. And I could see an endless list of benefits. And I do see that a lot in our industry where that's happening. You're seeing brands kind of consolidate under one umbrella. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity for folks. But you said 176 locations, which, by the way, is not easy to do. So you guys are obviously you're hitting some momentum. Obviously, I like to say over 100, right, is a good milestone. But tell me a little bit about growth. Like, what are some of the key ways you see growing this brand?
Absolutely. So we, are targeting different markets that we know are very successful markets for us, and we are working to grow. Our vision is really to get us to 300 territories and franchisees, so that we have a very marketable, recognized name across the country, so that that it is a brand that you can trust to bring into your home. And so that's one of our biggest goals. And we do it through franchisee referrals. We do it through people buying an additional territory. When their business is really strong, they start to scale and add on another territory and another team, and that helps them fulfill their dream of owning a large business. And then we do it with those that are just wanting to get started in an area, and it's great for them if there's someone nearby, again, that they can kind of work together and share space at home shows and be able to develop their business.
So in terms of the world we're living in, which is an interesting I know technology drives all businesses. Tell me a little bit about technology. I know you support your franchisees with marketing and there's some technology there, but then there's technology in everything. And for a lot of business owners, or folks thinking about starting a business, that's one of those areas that for a lot of people can be a real stumbling block. So tell me a little bit about some of the innovations that you guys are either doing now or they're looking towards doing in the future.
Absolutely. So we have a proprietary technology called SmartQuote, and SmartQuote really helps the owners and the customers be able to see a very clear picture of what kind of paint we're going to use, the extent that it should be on the wall, the cost, what different rooms, because you may choose that you want to do more rooms than you thought or less rooms that you thought. So all of that is displayed on an iPad or a computer that they can see. So we're very transparent about this is the space that you have, and then you would get to see the entire quote. And then if you decide you want to upgrade your paint, or that's not the right paint for you, that can all be manipulated in Smart Quote as well. So that technology is great for a new owner that may have some apprehension about estimating. Kind of takes the guesswork out of it. And then it's also a very professional document that we can leave with the customer as they're trying to make the best choice for their family. So that's one thing that also really helps us drive. We do have a marketing department that helps with all the basic setups of your business, your website, teaching you, if you're not great at social media, on what's appropriate and what's not, and how to get the best leverage of how to get people to know you as a business owner and your team through social media. And so we have a lot of different ways that we help them with technology. And, one of the best things about a franchise is we're out there sourcing the best vendors. So you don't have to do that on your own. We're able to go out there and really find who's going to be able to meet the best needs for our owners and what they're doing with their customers every day.
Yeah. I mean, technology. So let's talk a little bit about AI, right? That's interesting, right? So I think that, let's just look at marketing. Let's just say, do you see some application for you guys in marketing, or what areas? Have you thought about it, or are you starting? I'm sure you're thinking about it, but
sure.
What areas do you see this moving? And I mean, where might it play in the next year or two, do you think?
Sure. So I think all of us are trying to figure out exactly what direction AI is taking us, but it does help us in being able to craft great follow-up emails out to folks, explain what we do. Sometimes that comes naturally to people and sometimes it doesn't. And a lot of AI is there to help them, but it also really helps in trying to identify the persona of what customer is really our customer, so that we know how to best reach them, how to find them in their community, help our franchisees understand the target customers, and really be able to be refined in their search rather than just throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying everything. We have a limited amount of time, and we want to be able to use all that technology to help them have a focused approach with the most success and close rate.
I mean, I think in today's world, trying to start a business without a franchise brand would be kind of, I don't know that I would try to do it.
That's so true.
I mean, that's an area where you say, yeah, they'll take care of it. Like they're looking into all that for me, and they'll implement something that'll help me be better, faster, cheaper. Right? That's really the key, is where can it solve problems, and applying it to the right places in the right order. Otherwise, I think it's just even more noise that we already were dealing with, and now it just seems like it got amplified even more.
Yeah.
So I know that's for people like yourself who are strategic. It's like a little bit more like, let's do it in the right pace, and make sure it's impactful and it helps. So that I appreciate that. Yeah, I asked that question, and it's right now it's still very early for everybody, and I like to hear the different answers. But I do think content creation is key. I think that'll be more and more common. And things that we used to spend time agonizing over, we'll just have a playbook for that, and just implement. I think folks just have to get comfortable that something else can do it. You don't have to do it, right? Like, you shouldn't waste the time doing it,
It's true. And I think that's with franchising, because I actually, was a franchise owner. And so I remember the fears that you have trying to do your own business. So you're excited, but you also have fears. And a franchise really helps you be able to have experts that help you leverage quicker, right? Because you could go down some rabbit holes that would take you away and slow down your process. But a lot of that's already vetted. And so you can move forward a lot faster. And then we're on the journey with you. We have coaches that work with our franchises, looking for gaps in performance that we can help them reduce, so that, again, they can move faster and generate more income. And of course, having been a business coach, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to, people are working really hard. Sometimes you're so in it, you might miss something, and having another set of eyes or someone walking along with you to kind of go, oh, what about this, can change the trajectory of your business that year. So it's really important to have, people that you can trust that are going to help you through those times where you're just missing something, you didn't realize it.
Yeah, no, that's key. Like I said, your background is interesting. I feel like you really have a holistic view of every angle, so it's got to help. I would guess. So I haven't been in your shoes.
My team is used to me saying, well, as a franchisee, would I value that, right? So, that's just because that's kind of where I came from. I've walked in those shoes, and we want to make sure that any dollar that we're spending or anything that we're putting time to really is going to have value in helping the franchisee, because that's what we do.
So walk me through, I know, the idea of starting a business. The whole key of franchising is, systems, processes, scaling, different markets, local business. And, so if you're starting a brand new business, it's kind of like, well, how's that going to work? What does that look like? And so from a marketing standpoint, you sort of have this idea of, first you're bringing someone in, and you're going through a whole process of recruiting that person and figuring out, is it a fit for both people, both sides. It's very important that there is a strong fit. And maybe you could talk about that in a little bit. But, after they come on board, there's sort of an onboarding process. And then I know that first year is critical, right? Everybody has different KPIs, but maybe you could help the audience understand, how do you guys approach sort of that first year, or that getting them to the place where they're operating well and growing, right? So there's that in between of onboarding and getting those first few months under their belt. How does that look for them from a marketing point of view? Mostly.
Absolutely. Well, I think, the one thing I can say from being a franchisee, that you're in a community. So you're buying a business that's in a community, and that community will value you if you value the community. So while we provide a lot of marketing tools, you also have the obligation of getting out into your community and meeting other people that are also wearing a franchise name on their shirt at networking events, and helping each other. And I kind of call it a spider web, because everyone kind of knows everybody in the core of your community, and everyone wants to give back. So they want to refer you or introduce you to someone. And that's really important as you're starting your business, to organically also meet people that are going to help you in your industry. And everybody has different partners that share customers. You're to identify and find that. And then that really leverages the other part of the marketing that we as the franchise do for you. So, marketing only works if you do. So you kind of have to know that it's kind of like a tire. And if you don't have both sides working together, that tire's kind of flat. So you kind of have to know that you're going to do more networking when you first start a business, that you probably will a little bit later in the business, but you're excited about your business. You're getting out and talking about it. You're getting your name out there. People are starting to talk about you. Leads are coming in from your website. And then that's how it all starts to really swirl into a tornado of more business for you. Then you can begin the growing of the business and the scaling.
Yeah. Now I hear that a lot, and I think it's wonderful. What you're really saying is there's multiple sort of legs around the stool to keep it stable. And so you've got, and I'm going to ask you, like digital marketing, I would assume Google, because of what you do, home services, intent, people have intent. They know about painters, right?
Sure,
I need some work done, and I'm going to start Googling a lot. So tell me a little bit about how you're leveraging Google or things like that, but I would assume Google's important. And then what we just said was really, though, the strength of the local business is to network and partner with other business owners. And then I was going to ask you this, and I think I know the answer, but in these businesses, when you're doing business with homeowners, residential or commercial, which I think you guys do both, which is unique.
We do.
But when you're doing business, especially residential, it really is just following through, right? Like if you follow through and do a great job, put a sign in the front yard, and you probably would say every sale that I get from Google is like 3 sales, right? Or 4 or 5.
Absolutely.
And so that's awesome to have that leverage. That's how I see it in my marketing head, is that I have to spend a little money to get prime the pump, right? To get some of those new folks to know about me. But once the momentum gets going, then everybody sees me in these different places, neighborhoods, what have you. And it's like, yeah, I think they did a great job. They were right on top of everything. They actually showed up and did. Sometimes I think the competitors make it easy. The independents, right? Because it's very hard for them to keep up sometimes. Anyway, so tell me a little bit about that process from like Google and the other areas. How does that all work together from your view?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know, Google has a way of being able to elevate your business. And as you said, you have to kind of pay to play in some ways, but you want to be the painting company that comes up. And I think we've all done this where I'm going to do painting and I put in a painting in, West Virginia. You get 3 or 4 and you just kind of start going down the list, right? And so if the first 3 don't call you, but then the third one answers the phone, there's more of a likelihood you're going to go with that individual. So Google is the first step. So you want to make sure that you're visible. And then next is how quickly are you answering the phone and how quickly are you responding with that follow-up? Because oftentimes it's either going to be through the reviews that you have on Google, and we spend a lot of time with our owners. Reviews are very important. And sometimes people feel uncomfortable asking for reviews, but it's great when it's like, this is fantastic. I love it. That's the time to say, oh my gosh, if you could write a review, that really helps us. And that takes away some of that uncomfortableness if you're not sure you want the compliment as well, if you don't take them well. And that helps also raise you on Google too. So those things are really important. And to your point, it is amazing how many people don't answer the phone or it takes several days. So if you have an answering service or you have a way of answering that phone right away and immediately scheduling a time to come visit the homeowner, you're going to have so much more success in driving your business, which then leads to better reviews, which again leads to great ways to do ads and to talk about those stories and have testimonials. And then that really builds the trust with your community and your customers.
Yeah, Google's a great referral partner. But you do have to pay to play. But in your business model, it is a critical way to prime the pump. But I would say, as I said, so as you grow, you have partners, you have referrals, and that allows you to continue to dominate that game. And it's all, assuming you want to keep growing and making more money, right? Some people say, I'm busy enough now,
That's true.
That happens. That's usually the good problem to have. So tell me, you'd said earlier, and I had read a little bit about the brand, and I know there's a lot of potential to earn. And I also know you can't be specific about earnings and keep, what's possible, but maybe you could share a little bit about what that looks like in terms of what does someone need to get started in this? And then what is sort of the rough potential of where this could go for somebody?
Sure. So a lot of it depends on the individual. And, if you were really driven in your previous careers, we really look for those that are driven in this career because you really do want to stay focused on the number of customers and potential customers that you have in the funnel and really understanding when to scale. So, time kills deals. So you want to be able to have the right appropriate amount of painters in our case that we can continue to be working many jobs at one time. And so scaling is really the most important thing as you're growing your business. And, we have leads in commercial as well. And we talk about the healthy businesses. You have to be able to do a large commercial job while still maintaining your residential so that you are always continuing to grow with your business. And we look at close rates. You might have a lot of proposals, but you aren't closing as well. So we help you with that close. And so there's lots of potential. It's really up to you. And really, in some cases, overcoming your fear. Can I find another person who is going to be the right person? And so we battle a lot of those fears of you need to start looking for the right person. And you also need to be marketing so that those two can come together and your business can just flourish. And so we have folks that, have 5 painters all the way up to 30 painters. So they really are working in their communities to find great people. And just like we want to treat our customers wonderful, we want to treat our employees wonderful. We hire most of our painters and we want it to be a great work environment. So we have that consistency so that we, again, can continue to build the volume of our owners.
Yeah. So basically the sky's the limit. Essentially, you can work hard. Yeah, you can also do multi locations too, like multi territory if someone wanted to Yeah.
We do.
So,
And and it's funny, I have a franchisee I was talking to today as two, and he's already kind of got his sight set on the volume that he wants to achieve to buy two more. And so you really, you find the right people, you become the leader of the organization, you hire great people, and then you can continue to scale and grow.
So having such an amazing background, especially with the growth coach, and the fact that the brand's part of the group must be interesting, because I feel like, that kind of coaching that you guys get into with the growth coach, for any franchise brand, they have to have that element, right? And you mentioned it earlier and I feel this myself, and where I have in my career, where there is this little apprehension or fear of failure, right? A fear of not failure, success. I'm sorry. Well, failing at success maybe is a better. So, but that's a coaching. That's a mindset thing, and the growth coach is all about that. So, tell me a little bit of how that plays in, and what do you see as the common challenges for most franchisees their first year or two that they get started?
Sure. I think that sometimes, as business owners, we are working hard and we hope we're doing the right thing. So it is great to have someone that can kind of slow you down, because, sometimes as a business owner, you're wearing many hats and you're going at great speeds and your head is down. And so to have time with your coach is nice, to be able to slow down and really look objectively. And I call it face your reality. So you're going to look at your numbers and your systems and the people that you own and really look at it with some different glasses on. And then you start to see things that you're moving so fast that you've missed, and you can step back and be a little bit more strategic. And sometimes it's helpful to have a partner that will make you slow down, right? And look at that, so that we can course correct. Just like in a basketball game, the coach doesn't wait until the game is over to give feedback. They're giving feedback throughout the year and throughout the process, throughout the game. And we do the same thing. And so I think that, it's not that people don't want to be strategic. It's being a business owner is a busy job, and you have people that you have worked with for a while, or family members you've hired. And so you may not see them as objectively of what they're doing as you will if you slow down and look at your reality. And then once you face that, you can have the confidence then to move forward. So facing reality kind of gives you that inchworm effect of, if you're not moving forward, you got to step back, look at it, and then you'll go farther, almost like an arrow. And that's really, really important. And I always love to go into businesses and love doing this with my current franchisees. I really am looking for something that is something we can help them grow their business and move forward. So transparency is really important. You want to be vulnerable and honest, because in that honesty and vulnerability, we find the nugget that's going to help you be successful. And so that's really important, that we build trust with our folks as we're coaching.
Well, I gotta say, I do interview a lot of people that have started franchises, or that are CEOs or leaders of franchises. And one of the things, and I've worked with them as well in consulting and other things. One of the challenges is always that an entrepreneur that just starts something out of thin air through grit, right?
Yeah.
And courage, right? Maybe stupidity. And then you look back on it like, yeah, I'm so glad I didn't think it was stupid then. So you stay with it. But, it's so important to get across to a franchisor that the franchisees are different than you, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't always have those abilities. And you seem very tuned into that ability to bring that out of them, help them see it. But I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes I find that some franchisors will be like, well, they can figure it out. We've given them everything. I don't understand,
Sure.
But sometimes it's up here in their head, and they just aren't seeing it the right way. So you have to have that way of reaching them and getting that nugget, like you said. So
and
that's pretty amazing.
Where they are. And I'm really proud of the coaches that work at FreshCoat, because they do a great job. And then, like you said earlier, some people want really large businesses that they can scale, and others are happy with a different size business. And we just want you to live your dream. This is your dream. You wanted to own your own business, and we're always going to show you what's out there, but we also want to meet you where you are and where you're feeling fulfilled, because that's really, again, this is your business, and we're here to help meet you where you are and help get you to where you want to be.
Awesome. So looking towards the future, which I think all of us are starting to look towards more now. We talked about AI earlier and things, but is there any services or ideas that you guys have on the horizon? Anything you want to share with any changes, or just I remember I think Jeff Bezos is coined saying this. Someone asked him, what do you think will change in 10 years, Jeff? And he replied, well, I know it won't change, and that is people want their packages quick. So we may change how we get them the packages quick, but we know that won't change. So, but is there anything innovative or anything you want to share about the future that you're looking towards that you think might change in the industry?
I think we're the same way. People spend more time in their homes, and I think we're always going to get bored with something in our home, and we're going to want to update it. And there are a lot of social medias out there that give us great ideas, whether it's Pinterest or Instagram and all those pictures. We have a new procedure called Nordic that really helps the homeowners be able to have a better quality wall in their home and to be able to have more durability. And so that is something that's really great. And wallpaper is kind of emerging again. I kind of joke that those people that love wallpaper don't remember my age where you had to scrape it off and it wasn't as much fun. It's a much better product now. So I think people are always going to be looking at new ways to enhance their living space. And so we have that. And then we've had a lot of growth in commercial, and that has been great for our franchisees because we're outsourcing those jobs and helping with lead generation with the commercial side. And commercials really something you have to build a reputation. And my team's done a great job at building that reputation, and more of that's coming our way. So it's really making a well-rounded career and business for our folks, that they're in the home, they're outside of the home, they may be in your shopping mall doing a store there. And so we're really able to kind of brighten the space anywhere you go.
All right. Well, before I let you go, I do like to ask this before you escape from the audience here. What advice would you give someone that might be thinking about starting a business or investing in a franchise or even yours? And I don't know if you want to connect it to maybe a mentor. You have really an interesting background, so I'm sure you've met a lot of interesting people along the way. Is there any advice you'd like to share, or anything comes to mind when someone's in that mode of changing a career or looking to invest in a business, which I think is happening more and more these days? What advice would you give?
Absolutely. And I think that you have to find what really excites you. And if owning a business is something that you've always had a dream of doing, you need to do your due diligence, and you need to decide, do I want to spend a lot of time inventing my business, which some people do, or am I a little bit nervous and I want to be able to be part of a system that's going to allow me to have some individual ideas, but also help me with the basics of growing and the basics of what to do when, and to have a team that really wants to rally around you. And, we really focus on the team. We're not out there doing the job with you, but we certainly are very vested in your success. So if a franchise is something that appeals to you, franchises do rally around their folks. They have proven ways of doing things that help you. And so that takes away a lot of the fear. And it also, again, a lot of people want to know, how quickly can I make income? Well, if you have the path very clear for you, that definitely means you're going to ramp up a little bit faster. And so being able to guide through that and to have people to reach out. If you leave the corporate world, you're kind of used to having people that you could pick up the phone and ask questions to. If you are part of a franchise, you still have that. It's just in a different way. And so if you like to collaborate and you like to have someone that will help guide you, and someone will cheer you on or give you tough love if you need tough love at a certain point in time, that's really, what you should do. And I think my mentor has always believed in me and always challenged me. And when I had a fear, they could see it in my face and would help push me through it. And so I think you have to be with some folks that you feel are going to be able to, listen to what you want, listen to your dream, and then sometimes give you a little push when you need it, when your fears start to creep in. And so that's kind of what we do for our folks. It's super exciting to see them get excited about coming in, and then to see them grow and to celebrate all the different rungs as they're building their business.
I think I read or heard that, when older folks were interviewed about like regrets in life, right? They interviewed like 100 older folks. And one of the key things, the trend of it all, was that they regretted not taking more chances, just trying more things. So I encourage everybody that's listening, try more things, because at the end of the day, anything worth doing has some fear attached to it. And as we've said, the whole call here, or the whole show, is, basically franchising gives you that invitation to come in and not do it alone. But there's still going to be some fear there. But as I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I know you have. I've been involved in a lot of entrepreneurial endeavors, and there's nothing that is consistent with success like franchising. It's amazing how successful people become becoming part of a brand and the brands themselves. So I think it's awesome. I would encourage anyone to do it. But how can they reach you guys? What's the best way? What website, and what's the best process if they're interested in your brand?
Absolutely. So we're Fresh Coat Painters. So you can definitely reach out to us at any of our websites that we have, Fresh Coat Franchise Painters. You can reach out at any of our Fresh Coat websites. We are here to answer any questions that you have and kind of help you discover what you would like to do. And as you said, I think, owning a business, franchise or not, is it's hard work, but it's so fulfilling and so rewarding, because you are the foundation and you get to not only help your customers, you're helping other people that work for you love their jobs and have a great career as well. And we'd love to spend some time chatting with you and helping you determine, what is really your dream and the fit that you might have in our organization.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today, Lisa Hudson. I want you to come back, and your dogs are invited, by the way. You said you didn't invite them. I'm kind of hurt, but that's all right. We can have them hang as long as you have the doggy treats ready.
That's right. That's right.
But it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And I know the brand is going to do some amazing things under your guidance. I mean, you really do have it dialed in, and your background helps, obviously. But I think that's key. So anyone listening, like I said, everybody, anytime you get a chance to talk to these folks in these brands and franchises, you should take them up on it. They'd be happy to talk to you more about business ownership and the opportunity. So thanks again. I look forward to having you back again soon.
Thank you so much.